Hey PlayStation fans, did you know there was a multiplayer God of War game from Bluepoint Games that was due to come out on the PlayStation 6 that eventually got cancelled? Well, we've got our first look at that game in this video. And it looks pretty damn good. Why did this not get approved? But before we get into it, first of all, happy Halloween. I'm Blaze2K. Consider liking and subscribing and clicking the bell icon if you're in that festive, well, Halloweeny spooky, but coming along to festive vibes. Please like and subscribe. If you love gaming, tech, you love Halloween and Christmas. Anyways, let's get to the news. So if you don't know, basically Sony cancelled a live service game set in the God of War universe that was in development at Bluepoint Games. The project was axed after an internal review, along with another live service game from Bend Studio. While the studios remain open, the cancellations are part of a larger trend of Sony reassessing its live service game strategy following mixed results. And obviously, as a PlayStation fan, as a member of the community, we've heard a lot of uproar about live service games, right? We don't want to be trickle-fed content, DLC skins, and just be basically on the hook for a monthly subscription just to play a live service game that doesn't really add any value to the universe, especially something as large as God of War, right? With that rich history of God of War games, Ragnarok and the original God of War. I love this game and I love this franchise, and it would be a shame to see it muddied by a live service component. And I think that's the way the community has been feeling lately about live service games. We've seen flop after flop, especially from EA and Sony as well. Look at Concord, it got outright cancelled. So I'm not surprised. I'm not sure whether to be happy or not, but we're going to take a look at the first images coming out from that cancelled PS6 live service God of War game. And this article comes courtesy of MP1st.com. So Sony's clearly far from finished with the God of War franchise, with several projects currently in the works, ranging from a TV show from Prime Video, with a heavily rumored 2D Metroidvania that would return to Greece, drawing inspiration from games like Blasphemous. I think 2D Metroidvania games are the hit right now. I'm actually playing Castlevania myself on my Steam Deck, one of the Game Boy Advanced versions, and I'm loving it. I'm falling in love with the Metroid. And sorry, not Metroid, Castlevania. And I've been really loving it. Now, some fans know from another project that that saga was scrapped not too long ago, at least the multiplayer God of War game, and this game, specifically the God of War multiplayer game cancellation, caught many by surprise, with details sparse beyond the fact that it was supposed to be a multiplayer game set in the God of War universe. And thankfully, we recently gained access to the development screenshots to offer a detailed look at the game's planned setting. So basically, the screenshots from the project were shared with us offer a good glance at an early stage development, showing some assets from environments that were being worked on for the title. The first noticeable detail is that we can get a look at by looking at the gallery is that the game was clearly planned to return to a Greek setting. This is evidenced by the presence of Greek temples, classic artifacts such as pottery, and other details we'll discuss later. Here's some of the images here. Look at that. Look how cool that is. Let me bring it up to full screen for you guys. So, I mean, look at the graphics. Look phenomenal in this, doesn't they? This was meant to be a multiplayer game. I'm hoping they're reusing these assets for the next God of War game. They probably are. They're probably like, you know what, hold on. The community is not too fond of live service games right now. Let's just hold that. Like, the assets are well designed. I mean, geez, look at the detail. Can you imagine playing this on PC as well, or the PS6? I think we're going to see a lot of these assets. So it's interesting. These were meant for a multiplayer component, a live service component. I'm not sure how I would have felt about that. I'm not a fan of live service games besides, well, okay, I am. I play Battlefield, and I did used to play Warzone a lot in those sorts of service games, but I don't know how God of War would have translated to this. But as far as the assets go, they've put a lot of work and a lot of detail in this before it got shuttered, which is unfortunate, but I'm sure they're not going to go to waste. Holy smokes, guys. I want to jump into this universe. Revive it now. Revive the assets. I mean, revive the game. I've actually been to Greece, back in the day when I was like 13 or something. I went to Rhodes. My family took me, or my parents took me to a Greek island called Rhodes, and it was a beautiful place, beautiful culture. Yeah, seems like they were deep in terms of developing assets for this thing. Let me know what you think in the comments. Would you have liked a God of War live service multiplayer game? In addition to temple exteriors, we can see other environments such as caverns, interiors that have appeared to appear to have been designed to accommodate multiple players, such as the armory stocked with weapons and shields. Another interesting detail for those familiar with the lore is the apparent inclusion of the god Hades, at least in name. We were told that Hades would have been the owner of the armory, as well as the yellow sulfur pools visible in the caverns. So if the game was meant to fit an established canon at all, the involvement of a living Hades suggests a timeline prior to the events of God of War 3. That's if the game was meant to be canon in any way. Otherwise, it could have been an anything goes kind of thing, not connected to the main God of War continuity beyond name. Another interesting thing to note is the clear Greek-inspired architecture evident in the buildings, but some environments look like they were plucked from God of War 2018 and Ragnarok. There appears to be a female statue holding a mask, which reminded us of the statues in the original God of War games, but we aren't sure whether a god is associated with wearing a mask. There is what appears to be statues of possibly soldiers holding a shield and spear, anything that would associate with Spartans, but their appearance also comes off as that of the Einarhar and the Norse warriors who reside in Valhalla, God of War Ragnarok. You can also see several weapons on display that have a hint of green, which reminds us a little of the weapons the Berserkers and other enemies used in 2018 and Ragnarok. Also, considering the size of the previously mentioned pools is shown in a comparison with a player mock-up, we can only speculate on whether they would have had a specific function in terms of gameplay. In returning to Hades' armory, we notice that one picture shows the place looking different, as a red corrosion appears to have taken over the area. This state is described as a curse on the armory, suggesting it could have inflicted a negative stats effect on players inside. Cool. In the end, though, PlayStation lacked confidence in the game's long-term viability, and this move is understandable considering the poor reception most live service proposals received from PlayStation fans, especially given the recent example of Concord. Now it's reported that Bluepoint has started working on another project, a third-person melee action game, according to job listings, and the possibilities for the subject of their next project are wide, but the most hopeful Bluepoint fans are proposing a remake of the original God of War, a project many God of War enthusiasts have been requesting for years. And given Bluepoint's history of excellent remakes such as Shadow of the Colossus and Demon's Souls, this would be a highly promising project. Furthermore, since we now know the studio was already working with a Greek setting, they could potentially take advantage of the work and the assets already developed and transition them into full God of War remake. That's another thing that PlayStation fans are kind of divided on, right, is remakes. I feel like we've been getting a lot of remakes lately. Let me know if you agree. Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's a good thing. It's a good thing as well, as long as we get a new flow of new IPs and franchises and stuff, and new games as well, because I think if we keep rehashing the same old stuff, it gets a little bit tiring eventually, right? This is what Redditors had to say. Ascension's multiplayer was alright, but rather half-baked. I could see them taking that formula and applying it here. Not sure how the very close-up over-the-shoulder camera would have worked with the newer games, but I guess we'll never know. After looking at the screenshots and assumptions regarding gameplay mechanics, for example, multiple players being able to grab weapons from a storeroom, suggesting some sort of PvP arena combat, I'm not surprised the game was cancelled. I'm actually surprised it even got out of the drawing board, to be honest. Who was this game for? The God of War franchise is known for its ultimate power fantasy narrative and gameplay elements that can't be directly translated to a multiplayer PvP game. Might strike a chord with people who enjoy online stuff, but at this point, your idea has to be really unique to stand out amidst the sea of other well-consolidated titles. Not even mentioning how insane it was to task Bluepoint of all studios with this project. So yeah. Kind of interesting, guys. Can't believe this was exciting first ever original game, I can't believe this was the exciting first ever original game secret project Bluepoint was working on in secret for so long. I'm glad this pile of crap was cancelled. So let me know your opinions down below in the comments. Are you glad that this game was cancelled? I mean, overall, it doesn't look terrible, does it? I mean, as a live service multiplayer game, though, I'm not sure how that would have worked. I don't think the Uncharted games were really well received for their multiplayer. Let me know if I'm wrong. I remember loving Uncharted games, and I tried the multiplayer. It just didn't really capture me. And I feel like this might have been... I can't see millions of people really signing on to play this. I think if Sony want a live service game, they need to focus their efforts somewhere else. I'm not sure if running around as Kratos and a bunch of Greek warriors fighting each other, grabbing weapons from a storeroom and then running out into an arena. There's don't get me wrong, it's kind of cool, but at the same time, does it have mass market appeal? I'm not sure. Anyways, I'm Blaze. Like, subscribe, click the bell icon if you love gaming news, PlayStation, all that good stuff, and I'll see you in the next video. Happy Halloween, my friends. Stay safe out there.